All right, so you're getting ready for a mineralogist interview.
That's exciting.
Yeah, they're like, you know, detectives of the Earth, using all those cool scientific tools and figuring out the history of our planet.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field.
We thought we'd do a deep dive into the career guide and some potential interview questions.
Great, so you can totally rock this interview.
Exactly.
I'm happy to help share some insights on what those interviewers are looking for, beyond the just textbook stuff. That's where RoleCatcher comes in, right?
Oh, for sure.
Game changer for interview prep.
Especially with the AI, tailoring your answers and giving feedback
Yes.
based on the specific job you're going for. That's huge.
Absolutely. It takes out all the guesswork. You don't have to figure out what these people want to hear.
Yeah.
It's right there for you. Plus, they have a free account, which is awesome because it lets you save those questions you really like and keep everything organized. You're not juggling a million things at once.
Always nice.
For sure, but even with something like RoleCatcher,
Right.
it's your passion and your experience that really shine. AI can't give you that,
Right. Those are things AI can't replicate.
Exactly. Your enthusiasm is key.
Okay, well, let's dive into this mineralogist career guide.
Okay.
I found some super interesting stuff in here. First off,
Yeah,
the field is growing.
that's right.
So the more demand there is for minerals,
Mm-hmm.
the more they need skilled mineralogists.
Right. It's a great time to be in this field. Lots of opportunities.
And this is cool. It said that field work can take you to some pretty awesome places.
Oh, yeah.
Remote mountains, deserts, maybe even volcanic islands.
Volcanoes. Wow.
Yeah. Sounds pretty adventurous, right?
Definitely. You got to remember, though, it can be demanding, physically challenging.
Yeah.
You might be exposed to some hazards and difficult work environments. It's not all glamorous, you know?
Right. Got to find that balance.
For sure.
Okay, so the guide outlines some typical career stages. You start as an entry-level assistant, working with senior mineralogists. You gain experience, take on more responsibility. Then eventually you're leading research projects.
Yeah.
I really like how they included profiles of actual mineralogists
Yeah.
at every stage.
Yeah. It makes it real.
Makes it feel real and achievable.
Yeah.
But it also stood out to me that a mineralogist, you never really stop learning.
That's
New discoveries all the time.
Mm-hmm.
New technologies are always developing.
Keeps you on your toes.
So you're always on the cutting edge. Speaking of learning, let's look at those interview questions.
Yeah.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI insights can give you a real edge.
All right.
We'll start with the basic one. Can you explain your experience with mineral identification?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So basically, they're asking you if you know how to recognize, analyze different minerals.
Right. And this is where you can really show off your knowledge of the fundamentals. Be prepared to talk about those different techniques like X-ray diffraction or optical microscopy, chemical analysis.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just list them, you know? You got to show that you know how to use them. Give them some examples from your own experience, your previous work.
Yeah. Show, don't tell. So let's say they ask, how do you stay up to date with advancements in mineralogical research?
Oh, good one.
They want to see if you're committed to always learning, and keeping your skills sharp.
Right. Well, make sure you mention if you subscribe to any of those scientific journals, the good ones.
Right.
Or talk about going to conferences and workshops. That shows you're engaged. Oh, and if you're a member of any professional organizations like the Mineralogical Society of America, that's a good one.
That's a good one to mention. Okay, let's try a tougher one. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with mineral analysis?
Uh-oh.
Here, they're looking at how you handle challenges and how you think critically.
This is a good time to tell a specific story. Pick a time when you had a technical issue during an analysis and then walk them through it. Like, what was the problem? What steps did you take to figure it out? And then how did you solve it? The more detail you give, the better.
Right, because it proves you understand the nuances of mineral analysis.
Yes.
And that you can think on your feet.
Exactly. I remember early in my career, I was working on identifying this really tricky mineral sample.
Cool. What's the story?
And the X-ray diffraction analysis, it wasn't giving me consistent readings.
Oh, man. Oh.
And it was driving me crazy because I was sure I had prepared the sample right.
So what did you do? Did you just give up?
No, I dug deeper. I recalibrated the instrument, double-checked the whole sample prep process. I even asked a colleague, someone who had more experience with that mineral group.
Oh, smart.
And it turns out there was a tiny bit of contamination in the sample, just a tiny bit. And that was throwing off the results.
Wow, you were like a mineral detective.
I was. And by explaining that whole process to the interviewer, you're showing them your problem-solving skills, which is a big deal in any science field.
Absolutely. Okay. How about this one? Can you discuss your experience with mineral exploration and field work?
All right, now we're talking.
Now we're getting to the exciting stuff, right?
Yeah.
All those expeditions that we talked about in the career guide.
So this is your chance to talk about your fieldwork experiences, like geological mapping and those techniques you use to collect and analyze samples out in the field.
Right.
Think about specific projects where you use those skills.
And let that passion shine through.
Yes.
The guide talk about how field work can take you to some incredible places. Do you have any good field work stories?
Oh, so many. Let me see. Oh, I remember this one project where we were collecting samples from a remote mountain range in the Andes.
Wow.
It was tough. We were hiking for hours every day.
Oh, man.
But the views, they were breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking.
I bet. But it wasn't all about the scenery, was it?
No, no, no. The thrill was discovering these new mineral formations, ones that had never been documented before. That was exhilarating. Made all the hard work worth it.
Absolutely. Okay, so this next question is about organization and time management. How do you prioritize and manage multiple mineralogical projects simultaneously?
Okay. So they want to know how you handle a busy environment. So just describe your process, how you stay organized, set priorities, and meet those deadlines, especially when you're juggling a bunch of projects.
Right.
Do you use any specific tools, like project management software or time blocking techniques? Tell them about it. It shows them that you're proactive.
And don't forget to mention communication. How do you keep your team in the loop, especially when deadlines are approaching?
Oh, that's so important.
That's huge in those collaborative research settings.
Yeah. Clear communication is key.
Okay, let's make it a little more complex.
Yeah.
Can you discuss your experience with mineral processing and beneficiation? Now, this one might not be for everyone.
Right.
But if you have any experience in this area, you got to be ready.
So this is where you show off your special knowledge. If you've worked with techniques like flotation, gravity separation, or magnetic separation, this is your time.
Right.
Explain those methods and how you've used them.
And if you've worked in an industrial setting, talk about your understanding of the regulations.
Yeah, good point.
And best practices.
Right, because it shows that you're not just book smart, you know the real world stuff too.
Exactly. I think this is a good spot to pause. You've shared some great insights. We'll dig into more questions next time.
Take it all in. We'll be back with more tips.
Okay, ready for round 2 of interview questions.
Let's do it.
Okay, here's a technical one. Can you describe your experience with mineralogical modeling and simulation? So basically, they're asking about your experience using computer models, right, to study minerals.
Exactly. We're getting into the specialized stuff here. So if you've worked with things like thermodynamic modeling, kinetic modeling, or even computational fluid dynamics,
Wow.
now's your chance to shine. Talk about the software you've used and the types of problems you've tackled with those models.
It's all about showing them you're tech savvy.
Right.
Like you can handle those cutting edge tools.
Right. And don't be afraid to, get a little technical here. The interviewers, they want someone who can explain those complex things.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
What about this? Can you discuss your experience with mineral resource estimation and reporting? Sounds like we're getting into mining territory now.
We are. This is key if you want to work in assessing and reporting those mineral deposits. So be ready to talk about techniques like geostatistical analysis, geological modeling, and you should definitely brush up on those industry reporting guidelines like JORC or NI 43101.
JORC.
Yeah, it stands for Joint Ore Reserves Committee Code.
Okay.
And NI 43101, those are Canadian standards. These make sure everyone's on the same page when it comes to reporting mineral reserves and resources.
So investors and mining companies and, regulatory bodies all have the same information.
Exactly. It's all about transparency and accuracy. Okay, this next one sounds pretty straightforward. Can you discuss your experience with mineralogical research and publication?
Simple, right? Just list your publications. Done.
Well, not quite. This is more about showing them your passion, for advancing the field. So talk about those research interests, the methodology you used, the main findings, and how did your work make an impact? Did it lead to new understandings, new applications?
Right. Don't forget to mention any presentations you've given at conferences
Yep.
or any awards you've received.
Yes, all that adds to your credibility.
Really shows them what you're made of. And interviewers love to see that enthusiasm,
They do.
right? Like you're genuinely excited about your work.
Exactly. It's contagious. Okay, last one for this deep dive. Ready?
Hit me.
Can you describe your experience with mineralogical consulting and advisory services? This one's definitely for the more experienced folks out there.
Yeah, this sounds pretty senior level.
It usually is. So if you have consulting experience, be prepared to talk about the projects you've worked on, the challenges you faced, and most importantly, the value you brought to your clients.
Like, how did you help them make better decisions?
Exactly. Did your expertise lead to good outcomes? Tell them about your successes.
Show them what you can do.
Yeah, and remember those storytelling skills we talked about. A good story can really bring those consulting successes to life and highlight your communication skills.
And your problem-solving skills.
Absolutely. Phew, that was a lot. What do you think? Ready to face those interviewers?
I think so. You've given us some great advice, some real valuable insights.
But remember, never stop learning. This field is constantly changing.
You've said that a few times now.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so important? Especially for someone just starting out.
Because, think about it, new discoveries, new technologies, our understanding of minerals keeps growing. So yeah, preparing for the interview is important. But staying curious, keeping up with those advancements, that's key.
I like that. So it's not just about getting the job, it's about the whole journey?
Exactly. That passion for knowledge will make you a better mineralogist, and it will make the journey more exciting too.
Love it. Speaking of exciting, I got to remind our listener about RoleCatcher. Their platform is great for interview prep, but they also have resources for career paths, salaries, even tips for negotiating job offers. They've really got it all.
I agree. It's a great resource for anyone serious about a career in mineralogy. Or any field, really. Check it out.
All right, let's leave our listener with a final thought. Something to think about as they go on this mineralogy journey. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about minerals in your career?
Tough one. I've seen so many incredible minerals, each one with its own story. But honestly, what amazes me is how much we still don't know. We've identified and studied so many minerals, but there are countless more out there waiting to be discovered, each one with its own potential uses.
It's like a reminder that even in a field like mineralogy, there's always more to learn, more to discover.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe our listener will be the one making those groundbreaking discoveries.
The possibilities are endless.
They are.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, the challenges of fieldwork. It's important for our listener to have a realistic picture, right?
Absolutely. It's not always glamorous,
Yeah.
Extreme temperatures, tough terrain, long hours in the lab. There are risks involved. You have to be prepared.
But it sounds like the rewards are worth it.
Oh, yeah. Discovering new minerals, contributing to science, experiencing the beauty of our planet, those are some pretty awesome perks.
And that sense of accomplishment when you make a discovery or contribute to a project.
There's nothing like it.
All right, let's give our future mineralogists some words of encouragement. What advice do you wish you had gotten before your first mineralogy interview?
Let me see. I'd say don't be afraid to let your passion show. Interviewers want someone who's excited about the field, not just someone reciting facts. So relax, be yourself. Let your love for minerals shine through.
Great advice. You got this. You've done the work. You've prepped with the best. You're ready.
Go get 'em. Unearth that dream career.
And who knows, maybe someday you'll be back here sharing your own fieldwork stories.
I'd love that.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Happy exploring.
Okay, so we've talked about those interview questions, what it takes to be a mineralogist, but before we wrap up, let's talk about RoleCatcher again for a sec.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's such a great resource, especially for that interview prep.
Yeah, their AI is amazing. It can help you tailor those answers and get feedback specifically for the job you want.
Right, like it analyzes the job description, the company, even the interviewer.
It's like having your own interview coach.
Exactly. It takes away so much stress. And, they have that free account option.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you can save those questions you like, keep all your notes organized.
Nice. Stress-free prep. Love it.
For sure. But even with all these amazing tools, there's one thing AI can't do.
What's that?
Give you your story, your passion for the field.
Right. That has to come from you.
Exactly. Your enthusiasm, that's what really shines through.
Makes sense. Okay, before we let our listener go, I want to leave them with a final question, something to think about as they start their mineralogy career. What would you say is the most important quality for someone to succeed in this field?
Ooh, good one. There are a lot of important qualities, but I'd have to say a real thirst for knowledge. This field is constantly changing. New discoveries all the time, so being curious, wanting to learn throughout your career, that's essential.
Yeah, it's not just what you know now. It's about always wanting to learn more.
Right, and that will make you a better mineralogist.
Well said. Okay, listener, we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable info, a solid foundation for your interview. Remember, you've got the knowledge, you've got the passion, and you've got the resources.
Go out there and rock that interview.
We believe in you.
We do.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one sharing your incredible discoveries with the world someday. Until then, keep exploring that fascinating world beneath our feet.
Happy exploring.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off.